week's Kids Church at home. I'm so glad that you can join me for this wintry and cold and blustery February. Have you ever felt that life isn't fair? And maybe when you feel life isn't fair, maybe you think, how can God be here? Or have you ever felt like you've done something wrong and how can God love you when you've done something wrong? We all have those questions, and we're going to explore those questions today in our Have a Heart Day. But first, let's do our shout out this week to Callie and Jackson. I hope that you're getting some sledding in this week. So February 14th is Have a Heart Day. If you don't remember what Have a Heart Day is, or you want the full background or some more of the details, down below I've linked to last year's video where we go into it in a lot of detail. But Have a Heart Day is a day for us to remember that our Indigenous and our First Nations brothers and sisters and neighbors don't have equal opportunity to learning like we do. Do you ever feel like you don't want to go to school? It's just not fun. It's not what you want to do. Well, there's lots of kids in this world and in our own neighborhoods and our own country who would love to be able to participate in the kind of school that you have. And Have a Heart Day lifts up those students and lifts up the unfairness that we have more opportunities in our urban areas for schooling than they do. So for this Have a Heart Day, we want to lift up and remember that there is unfairness in this world. But unfairness does not mean that God isn't there or God doesn't care. God is in that unfairness too, inviting us to try and be the change to bring around justice and fairness. I want us today to remember our Beatitudes. We looked at our Beatitudes before. Our Beatitudes are ways of being and remembering that God is with us no matter what. Whether or not we make mistakes, whether or not we feel happy or sad, whether or not the situation is fair or unfair, God's love and compassion are there. So let's remember some of these Beatitudes. And I love this version of the Beatitudes because it reminds us to have a heart throughout the whole thing. So the Beatitudes say, Jesus taught the Beatitudes, and he said, if you are feeling very small, take heart. God loves you. If you are feeling very sad inside, take heart. God is with you. If you are feeling very sad inside, take heart. God will help you to feel better. If you think you are not very smart, take heart. God has a promise for you. If you try really hard to do good, take heart. God will help you to do good. If you care about other people, take heart. God cares about you. If you try hard to work for peace, take heart. God says, you are my beloved child. If people are mean to you because you love God, take heart. You will always be a loved member of God's family. Take heart. I wonder, did you relate to any of those if statements? Maybe sometimes feeling small or sad or feeling like it's hard to do good. Take heart. Take strength. Know you are not alone. And in that knowing, learn to stand and give heart to others. So we're going to continue our theme with our mindfulness moment. All of our stuff today has to do with hearts, so that we continue to remember as we talk about hearts, not only that we are loved and that we love others, but to remember the actions that we are called to do because of those hearts, because we are loved and because we love others. And today especially, we remember that those actions need to include bringing fairness and justice, safety and education and health to our First Nations and Indigenous brothers and sisters across our country. Let me invite you into this mindfulness moment with our deep heart breathing. There's a link below that you can download this page as well if you would like. And we're going to do some slow breathing around our heart. So here is our deep heart breathing. We're going to take our finger and place it on the start. And we're going to breathe in as we follow the first arrow. Breathe in. And then pause. And then breathe out. And pause. And breathe in. And pause. And breathe out. And pause. So what's a good time for us to use our deep heart breathing? Well, if we go back to our be attitudes, we can remember when we're feeling sad or small or like we're not smart or that it's hard to be good. We can come to our deep heart breathing and we can breathe in, take heart, and breathe out. God loves you. And breathe in, take heart, and breathe out. God loves you. Maybe there's other words that you can use to remember that you are beloved and that you have a heart to give to others. Let's take a moment to breathe through our heart 3 times, using whatever words you are comfortable with. We'll start in the middle, and don't forget to pause at all the dots. Let's go. Breathe in. Take heart. God loves you. So Have a Heart Day is a child and youth-led event led by kids like you who wanted to bring awareness to the fact that children in our country living in First Nations and Indigenous communities don't have the same access to education, to supplies at school, to safe homes, and to mental health and physical health resources in their community. So what can we do about it? Well, last year we created cards that we could then put together and send off to the Prime Minister. I have a different craft for us this year. One of the symbols of Have a Heart Day is the spirit bear. Now, we're not going to create a spirit bear, but we are going to make a bear with a heart to remind us to have a heart. And then I would invite you to take a picture of your bear and make sure that your parents share it on social media all tomorrow with hashtags Have a Heart. And that way we can see that the bears we create are all part of a movement to share our hearts, to open our hearts, and to seek fairness and justice for our First Nations and Indigenous brothers and sisters. So let's get busy making our Have a Heart bear today. So for our Have a Heart bear today, all we really need is 1 paper bag. And from this, we're going to cut a number of different circles. So I found some different sized circles in the house that I'm going to use to trace. I have a big circle to trace the body. I have a medium circle to trace the head. I have a small circle that I will make several small circles for the paws and the snout and the ears. In addition to our paper bag, that's going to be all kinds of circles, I need a marker, some glue, some scissors, and a stapler. So my first job is to trace some circles. I need 1 big, 1 medium, 7 little ones onto my paper bag. There are all my circles that I have traced out on my bag. I almost forgot the most important part. We need a heart for our heart bear. So I have a heart here, and I'm going to trace 2 hearts as well. Okay, that's all the pieces traced out on my paper bag. I now need to cut them all out. There we go. Next step. Now with all of these scrap pieces of paper bag, don't throw them out. We need those. What we're going to do is cut them up into little pieces, and we're going to use these to stuff our heart so that we get a little bit of a puffy heart on our Have a Heart bear. So I'm just going to cut this into lots of little pieces, and then I'll show you what I mean by making our stuffed heart before we make our bear. So there's our stuffing, nice in little pieces. Then we're going to take our heart, putting the 2 sides together. I'm going to staple up one side of the heart, and I'm going to leave this side open. So now my 2 hearts make a pocket, and I can take all these little pieces and stuff them inside my heart, and that will make my heart puff up a little bit so I get a 3D heart. And when your heart is all stuffed, then you can close up that last side. So here is my little puffy heart. Okay, next step is to make our bear. We're going to take the body, and we're going to put a little bit of glue on one side, and then I'm going to stick his head on right there. And the next thing I'm going to do is make a snout. So put a little bit of glue on the circle, and I'm going to put it right in the middle of his face. That's going to be his nose. Now we need 2 ears. And now we're going to add 4 little paws. The bear's coming together really well. Let's add a few more details. We can fill in the ears, maybe give him some eyes. How about a nose and a mouth? Now let's fold over his paws, and we'll put the heart into his paws like that. Add a little bit more glue to his paws so he can hold on tight to that little heart. And then let's add some fingers on his paws. And how about some toes? One last detail. What a cute little heart bear. Well, here is my little Have a Heart bear. I wonder what kind of details you might add. We could have painted the heart red so it stood out a little bit more, or maybe use different colors, or maybe you have markers that you can add some other details and other colors to your little Have a Heart bear. I would love to see your Have a Heart bear. If you don't want to share it on social media, you can send a photo to me, and I can put them all together, and we can put a little collage together of our Have a Heart bears. And may our bears lift up and remind us to stand in solidarity and in love with our First Nations and Indigenous brothers and sisters. And know that we can take heart. Take heart when we are feeling sad that God is with us. Take heart when we are feeling like we need courage, that God is with us. And take heart when we care for others, that God is with us. Let's bless each other and fill our hearts with that blessing so that we may take a full heart into the world that we live in. May there be love in your heart to give. May there be joy in your heart to share. And may there be courage in your heart to lift others up. See ya!